If you ain't yet seen the news, the pre-orders for the new Fanatec CSL DD will be done in waves in what looks like a reasonable effort to deter scalping. This means to be near the front of the queue, you need to meet some requirements. If you want a CSL DD anytime soon, then let me highlight what you'll need to do to qualify for the earliest slot. Take note, I don't have an inside line to Fanatec, this information is all public domain now, however I do feel like it would be pretty easy to miss this. If just one of you takes action after hearing this, then great. First, let's look at the waves and then what they mean. The first wave of pre-orders will be limited to people who have a Fanatec account, which also has previous order history. You must also be subscribed to the Fanatec newsletter. You'll be limited to 1 unit per customer. After the first wave concludes, the second wave of pre-orders will then include people who have a Fanatec account and are subscribed to updates through newstandard.fanatec.com. You'll also be limited to 1 unit per customer. After the first and second waves conclude, the third wave of pre-orders will then open up to everybody, available through the website. This is just general release, general pre-orders, but you'll still be limited to 1 unit per customer. So to qualify for the first wave of pre-orders, you have to have bought something from Fanatec before and be subscribed to the general Fanatec newsletter. And you have to have a Fanatec account on the site. If you've ever placed an order with Fanatec before, then you will almost certainly already have an account on the site, but make sure you can log into it and that it's still there. I am a previous Fanatec customer with an interest in the CSL DD, and I had no idea whether or not I was subscribed to the newsletter, so I've signed up using the form again anyway. I've put a link to the newsletter form in the description. Point being, it's easy to get caught out by not being subscribed to the newsletter, despite being a repeat customer. If I hadn't seen this update, then I would be out of luck when the pre-orders open to the first wave, thanks to that technicality ruling me out of it. If you've already bought stuff from Fanatec, then follow my link to sign up to the newsletter and make sure that the email address you use is the one you also use to sign into your Fanatec website account. Once you're in, check that there is an order history of your previous items there to make sure they show up. If you satisfy those 3 requirements laid out in the update, then I expect you'll be called up for the first wave. If you haven't yet bought anything from Fanatec, then you won't qualify for the first wave, but you should be fine for the second wave if you create a Fanatec account on the website and subscribe to updates via the newstandard.fanatec.com page. I would personally subscribe to the main newsletter too for good measure, it can't hurt to do so. I've placed links in the description which should take you to where you need to go. Just make sure you use the same email address for all of them so that they all link together under one identity. If you've been holding off on upgrading your wheel or pedals lately because of the CSL DD release, then it will be massively important to take action here. The requirements are purely sign-up based and it would take little effort for a genuine customer to do. I know there are many of you still with lower end wheels that would have upgraded by now had things been in stock. If this is you, then I implore you to follow the instructions to get on the second wave or face further disappointment. I also haven't found anything to clarify whether or not you can make a purchase now and qualify for the first wave by virtue of having that order on your account. I don't think this has been cleared up yet, and I personally wouldn't gamble on it unless you were going to buy something anyway and can afford to do so. The third wave is merely a wider public release with a 1 unit per customer limit, just like the first and second waves. You won't need to do anything to qualify, but the requirements to get onto the second wave aren't exactly hard, so if you do have a genuine interest in buying a CSL DD, just create an account and do your sign-ups. It won't take very long to do, and my links in the description will take you there. And that is my call to action, really speaking. With all this said, it's worth an honourable mention that this seems like a sound plan to avoid a frenzy on day 1. It will remain to be seen if they have enough stock to go around for the first 2 waves, but at least we know an attempt has been made to deter scalpers taking full advantage of all the hype. Ironically, the people most likely to be included in the first wave are people who already have CSL Elite or Club Sport wheelbases, which means you can expect to see a great many second-hand wheelbases, many in perfect working order no doubt, appearing sometime soon, hopefully at lower prices for the bargain hunters out there. Sadly, the collateral damage will be those who have been waiting to upgrade and are patiently awaiting stock to come in, but aren't reached by this message and don't realise that there will be a phased release with requirements to qualify. If this is the first you're hearing of this phased release, then please share it amongst your communities to make sure that nobody has a shock on release day. Fanatec's stock has been picked clean for months now, and the imminent release of a high interest product means that this is a perfect storm. Here's hoping it lives up to expectation and that there's enough to go around on release. I'll personally be trying to get hold of one as soon as possible, and I'll have an opinion on how it does with my GT Omega ART cockpit. Anyway, see you again, thanks for stopping by.